Welcome to the Abbott Elementary recap. Janine Tiggs is one of the young nice teachers working at Willard R. Abbott Elementary. When one of her students urinates on their rug, she is forced to throw it out. She brings this up to Principal Ava, but she is unable to serve any of their needs because their school is underfunded and in one of the worst regions. Miss Schwartz kicks a student and is fired. They are able to request an emergency financial aid. Gregory Eddy is the new replacement substitute for Mrs. Schwartz. Granted with the extra funds, the principal purchases a new paint job for the school. Frustrated, Tiggs files a complaint with the district superintendent, but Barbara informs her that the superintendent doesn't look at their emails. They are sent back to their principal, so Ava calls a staff meeting during lunch break to have a staff confessionals about why they don't like Miss Tiggs. She leaves after trying to actually help the students. One of her students, Emmit, takes a nap on the rug every lunch because he doesn't get enough sleep at home. They band together and Melissa Shementi knows the guy that steals rugs, and they are able to supply new rugs for the entire school. Janine has an upcoming rapper as a boyfriend, Tariq, who just recently sold out his show of 15 people. Late on bills, she struggles to fix things in her life, as the flicking light bulb scares Melissa from walking the halls. Gregory solves a child arriving late to school every day by talking to her mother Amber about it. Gregory tries to spend time with Janine after school, but she constantly mentions things about her boyfriend. Jacob continues trying to make friends with Gregory, asking him for help with students, roasting him, but he feels betrayed when Gregory gives a student a thumbs up instead of him, and Melissa decides to go on a date with Gary the vending machine refiller. Gregory starts to open up to Janine. Gregory's grandfather used to have a landscaping business. Whilst Jacob and Barbara struggle to set up the school garden, he secretly helps them without their knowledge. Janine introduces a friend from high school, Sahar, but she ends up using Melissa's books as decorations and leaves the school shortly after. Janine finds out Jacob has been dating a guy named Zach for nearly over a year and hasn't told her. Gregory gets an invitation from his father to stop working as a substitute and come home to get a real job. He has sent out multiple applications for the principal position. Tariq performs for the school on his anti-drug raps, and Gregory is able to finally express himself. They have their annual open house for parents to gain information on how their student is doing and how to improve. Ava doesn't care because she's blackmailing the superintendent. She caught him cheating on his wife, so he had to make her principal. Greg gets depressed over this realization. He tried so hard for the principal job at Abbott, but she won because of blackmail. Janine meets Barbara's daughter, Taylor, and she fancies Greg, so they go out at the end of the day. Superintendent Denzel Collins reveals that he is now married to the mistress, meaning Ava might get fired. Janine and Greg help Ava give a school presentation for the school's statistics. Superintendent Collins allows her to remain as principal, but will continue punishing the school. Barbara finally gets a grant from the district that she has been applying for over 10 years. Greg also decides to accept the position as a full-time teacher at the school. The school embarks on a trip to the zoo with guests like Tariq and Zach because they are understaffed. On the bus, Tariq receives an email from Fade, a record label that wants to give him a chance, a small touring deal in elementary schools in New York, but they will have to move. In the end, Janine decides to stay at Abbott Elementary and parts ways with Tariq. Janine struggles with the breakup, falling behind on her bills and scheduling the mascots for the wrong day. They help bring her spirit back up, and Greg likes her new hairstyle. Jacob gives her a loan to pay back her bills. They meet Melissa's sister, Kristen Marie Shementi. Gregory and Taylor break up, and he learns of this from Barbara. Jacob embraces his corny side and joins the samurais for a play. Melissa is taking on 2 classes because of the teacher shortage, and with the advice of Barbara, requests aid, so the district sends over Ashley Garcia from Frankfurt to assist her. Janine gets invited over to Melissa's house for cooking tips. After her dreadful cooking takes over the staff room, she finds out that Kristen was banished from the family and no one dares to talk to her, ever since she used red potatoes instead of rustic ones. With Janine's love for family and missing her sister and parents, she created a plan to get Kristen over with fake gnocchi. They argue and find out that Janine made the gnocchi. Melissa is still angry, but explains that once their grandmother fell ill, she left and couldn't bear to see her, something that the family hated. When she messed up the recipe, it was like a nail in the coffin. Gregory solves a misbehaving student and hands off his discipline report, but also gets a call from his father. Amber leaves Gregory her phone number. Gregory has friends that have been on his back ever since the breakup, trying to take him out to bars and clubs. Breaking up with Tariq really impacted Janine, as he was the person that knew everyone, so she takes up Erica's offer of going to a Halloween party. Tariq comes back to town after his tour to collect his items from Janine's apartment and also invite her over for a date, but after him asking her for a ride and eating half a sandwich, she knows that she made the right decision and cancels the date. But Tariq walks off, calling his new girlfriend. They find a nasty commercial downgrading Abbott Elementary, so they track down the owner of the legendary schools, Draymond Winding, a former student of Barbara, and she talks some sense into him and he deletes the advert. Gregory starts to date Amber. Ava removes all the food products from the fridge so her pyramid scheme face masks can stay cold, and Janine eats her tuna sandwich that has been left out for a day. She isn't able to come in for work the next day, the only day she has ever taken off. Short on substitutes, Ava has to cover for her. She also gave up on selling the face mask as people complained about the burns from the product. They celebrate holiday break and Janine gets invited out with Erica as a girls' night, but she runs into Gregory and his friend Maurice, and Ava comes by with her friends too. Janine grinds on Gregory all night until Ava breaks them up, and they leave to talk outside, but when he gets a text from Amber, he is forced to leave, who runs into Maurice and they converse for a bit until he has to leave too. Feeling bad for Janine getting all dressed up, Ava allows her to join them to the next party. Her friend also left too. He meets Ava's boyfriend, Anjay Iguodala. Lieutenant Colonel Martin Eddy comes to visit Gregory at Abbott. Barbara and Jacob find out about Gregory's secret hoeing and tending to the garden. Janine stops two kids from fighting in her class, giving a resemblance to her mother and sister, so she tells Aisha to come over from Colorado, promising to not tell their mother. The children fundraise for a school field trip. Janine has been texting Maurice and he comes by the school to ask her out, and she agrees. Ava leads the candy selling, teaching the kids to oversell so they can get extra money. Barbara runs into Delisha Sloss, the person that gave them the grant on the school board and church friend of Barbara. She gets embarrassed when they realize they have been overcharging for candy. Ava apologizes and expresses her concern for the students without enough money to purchase new clothes. Barbara comes up with an alternative idea, giving Henry a salesman job. The entire day, Greg is stressing out about Maurice dating Janine and the backlash if it falls out, leading Jacob to question if he likes Janine or not, but they do end up going on a date. It is Valentine's Day and Jacob lets slip that Gregory likes her, but they never confront this question. Gregory becomes too organized for Amber and she breaks things off. On the bright side, they have a teacher's PEXA event with 3 items. Melissa makes up with Kristen as they fight off a bully, and Janine and Gregory let their emotions fly as they make out in the flower room. They brush it off as spur of the moment. Jacob is off spending time with Addington, the highest ranking school in the West area, with the highest chances of the kids making it out. Kristen warns Melissa about the prophecy, that the teachers are going to try and make Abbott a legendary charter school too. Gregory and Janine, filled with guilt, confront Maurice and tell him the truth, and Janine breaks up with him. Aisha comes to town and stays with Janine, and they argue about her leaving town after she had disappointed their mother so much and feeling like Janine had been abandoned. Ava is informed that the legendary charter petition to turn Abbott is going in front of the school board. The teachers are also informed about the petition. If it passes, they won't know who is staying for teachers and students. The only way to stop this is to get a petition signed with the entire community supporting Abbott, and they throw a party and force people to sign at the entrance, calling in a favor for Tariq to perform. He got fired from Fade and legendary charter schools hate him. Draymond interrupts the session to explain the manipulation at the front entrance and the need for change, but the parents support Abbott and boo him off the stage. They get enough signatures for Abbott to stay at public school. Janine planned a vacation for herself to relax, and her mother, Vanetta, came to school for the first time. Granted, it was to get money to pay off a phone bill, and Janine recognizes that, giving her a small lump sum to pay for the first few phone bill payments. The school goes on a field trip to the Franklin Institute, and thereby, Gregory confesses his love for Janine, and she reciprocates it, but they are scared to act on it because it can affect their work. For the time being, they stay friends. Mr. Johnson, the janitor, leaves work for Gregory's father to join the landscaping business for the rest of the year. This is where the series ends. For another strange series, watch this.